What is that?
It's my bone.
God damn it, Cartman!
How would you like to suck my balls?
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was... How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison?
Holy shit, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Shack My Balls, right here on a litany of different networks, hosted and sponsored by hackerhunting.podbean.com and ratsaladreview.com. And I am joined, that's right, I'm joined this week by my host with the most, lives on the Southwest Coast. I'm giving you the little jingle this week, my buddy. He's Steve Jackson.
Happy Easter, y'all.
Yeah, I guess if you celebrate, sure.
If you're into that, I guess.
I might make myself a pot pie. Maybe I'll cook up some chicken, some chacken. I don't know. Scoop, we are not alone this week. This is actually not Scoop's first time having a guest on a podcast for Sick My Bad, because he was not here when we had Joe Moran on, but he is here today, primed, ready, rocked. We are gonna get on our metal heads as we introduce Greg Naugle from the Rat Salad Review Show itself. What's up, Greg?
Thanks for having me on, guys. How are you today?
Ian.
Another day in paradise.
That's what white people say when they want to kill themselves.
Yeah. As my friends tell me, don't say just live in the dream. You gotta chase it. Just chasing the dream. Silly white things we say. Yeah. Sometimes I read about our culture on the internet, Ian. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with us?
I don't fucking know. I can't. I had to. You both are wrestling fans, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what's going on between Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss, right?
No, I have not watched it.
You've been following this? You've been
a little bit, dude, because it's
so weird.
Fucking hilarious. Okay, so Ronda Rousey kind of basically says that wrestling's fake, right? And Alexa Bliss is pissed. And it's pissed, and so many fans are just diving into it, all like trying to trash Ronda, but nobody's reading the actual. She just says like the predetermined fights and everything kind of got to her, and like all the fans and the way that they are, dude. It is so fucking hilarious.
As I was about to say, you can follow us on Twitter at
This is what happens when I get loved out.
Ian is on Twitter in frontal, ladies and gentlemen. Those tweets are not coming directly from me. If you see me throw up a gif of, Eric Cartman crying, that might be at me, because I just like gifs. If I will admit, when she told you to sit down, I was like, nope, you set me up. I was like, I'll stand ground. Like, I can't fucking not do it. It's right there. Like,
exactly. When it's right there, you gotta do it.
Oh, speaking of standing ground, standing up, loving one another as we try to come together in this time of Corona, we are here by Greg's selection. He was itching and let us know that he was ready for this episode, Ian, when we started this show, Chicken Lover. And
Chicken Fucker.
It's Chicken Fucker, right?
The Chicken Fucker.
Chicken Fucker. Season 2, episode 4. This is actually Suck My Balls, episode number 18. Damn, 18, bro. We've almost made it full 20 episodes, Ski. I've put up with you online for 20 episodes. I must really love you.
Must really love you. Yeah, it's one of those relationships.
Love we have for each other. All right, so in tonight's episode, Chicken Lover was the 4th episode of the 2nd season of South Park. However, I believe this was actually the 3rd, produced, I want to say, because if you look at the actual production timeline of South Park, how it's listed on certain sites, it varies from 3 to 4. But from an airing standpoint, this did air as the 4th episode. This episode, of course, was written by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, aired on May 27th, 1998. And it, of course, features, a couple stories here. Officer Barb Brady having his ongoing troubles with his inability to read. Some guy fucking chickens in town. Cartman, a cop. a litany of madness ensued in this episode.
I told you I can't read. I'm illegitimate.
That's points in this episode. Officer Bart Brady, for no reason, explaining his perils with his literacy. So this episode starts off. They're at the bookmobile itself. Okay, and I immediately I know right away. I was looking at it like, oh my god, I like these pretty romantic books. And I was like, I'm looking at the names of the shows or the books. I'm like, oh, it's Sabrina in Unchained and Bound for Love, and
Dorothy Palmer in Body to Body.
Body to Body. Skip. So they all got to choose 2 books as part of their reading bookmobile adventure, Scoop. And Mr. Garrison tells Eric to shut up after Cartman relates at the beginning of the episode.
Okay, children, each of you gets to choose 2 books from the Booktastic Buzz.
Reading sucks ass.
Eric, shut up!
Reading sucks ass.
Which is like, you look at from the beginning to the end. Like, that's comedy. And starting with the beginning, ending with it.
Reading sucks ass.
So they all start checking out, as we mentioned, the romantic books. After looking through the romantic books, the bus driver, the booktastic bus driver pulls up, and I have some of the notes I wrote. You see, reading opens up a whole new world to you. You can take a canoe down Amazon and go back in time to Camelot, or become a race car driver, all just by opening a book, just like magic. The magic of reading.
Oh yeah,
Greg,
and then
why was this one of your favorite episodes, would you say, as far as Chicken Lover?
well, I mean, within the first 10 seconds, reading totally sucks ass. Eric, shut up. And then he goes into his speech, and within the first 2 minutes, it condenses right down into one of Kenny's best lines as they're actually reading it. Stan, there's a lot of big words in these books, and Kenny, yeah, and a lot about vaginas and penises. I
have that written down. Yep.
But the jokes they fire so well, and although I still love South Park. I know there's a lot of older fans that don't like the newer episodes, but I appreciate the fluidity of the dialogue between the kids so much here. It's just one after another, and the background jokes are all hilarious too, and just a completely absurd concept too.
I was actually going to introduce a new segment in the show called "What Did Kenny Say?" And then,
yeah,
in this show, he said, of course, there's a lot of fucking vaginas and penises during this first scene during the bookmobile, and then toward the end, after he gets shot, he says, "Oh, it was only my jacket." That's what Kenny said. Bop, bop. You know what I mean? Something like that. So we'll do that. All right, we'll do that next episode or something, maybe. So as the boys progress, into their reading, they're looking at these books, and they come to the conclusion: wait, if we read, are we gonna end up like this guy?
God, shut up, dude.
Go ahead and pick any books you like, then give in to the magic.
If we read, are we going to become like that guy?
Yeah, this is stupid. Books aren't magical.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting a tingly feeling looking at these.
And they're like, yeah, dude, we are. So they toss the book away and they bounce. But Cartman mentions, he's like,
I don't know, guys. I got kind of a tingly feeling over here.
Referencing the fact that he's got a erection. Scoop. Hey, buddy. When you were a kid, when did you get your first erection?
When did I get my first erection? I was... How old was I? Fuck.
Like, that you can remember. Because, I mean, you might have gotten erections when you're young, just involuntarily. You don't know. You know what I mean?
Like, when I was real young, I don't know. I think it was like 7 or 8, somewhere around there. 8, maybe 8 or 9, maybe 9 or 10, somewhere in there. I remember it just being really hard and going to my mom saying it hurt.
Greg, do you have a funny story at all, or a remembering time of an erection?
I can't tell you how old I was, but I know I was little, probably around what Scoop was saying, 6 or 7, and yeah, I got an erection for whatever reason. I just remember running into the living room with my pants off, like, Mom, My wiener's hard. I don't know what's going on. And when I squeeze it, it just hurts really bad. And I just thought of Butters later on in Little Crime Stoppers. 'Cause I sat there and went, ow, ow.
As far as I was thinking about mine, not to Eric Cartman this, and just get me down. Why don't you tell us your story, asshole? I want to say I must have been like in the first or second grade when I first heard about first heard about masturbation. And then I was like probably around 9, I think 9 or 10 when I first like remember getting an erection. And by that point, like I had learned what it was. So I was like, oh, I got an erection. Like, so like I didn't run and tell my mom, but I did go tell my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, got a boner. And he just laughed and he was like, all right, don't do it in front of me. And I was like, what? I was like, don't do what? He's like, just remember those words. Don't do it in front or near or around us at all. Hide it. Don't do it. And I was like, okay. And then like maybe a couple years later, there came a point where I was in the bathroom and I was like, remember, I was about to go and then I heard my dad in my mind, don't do it in front of, around. I was like, oh. Wash my hands. Get the fuck out of here. So, knowledge is passed along. It's interesting, though, that it just kind of starts right away that, like, Officer Barbrady can't read. So the fact that he can't read, it doesn't really correlate, though, with the chicken lover, because you don't really know that Officer Barbrady can't read until the first chicken gets fucked.
Right.
But that's like a good half a minute after the bookmobile scene. I mean, it all happens within a very short time.
Like up until
But how does the bus driver know that Barbrady can't read though?
Yeah.
Because reading is magic.
Oh.
Well, I guess when you put it that way. Yeah.
Wasn't it really Richard Nixon anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little odd to me. Like that's why I didn't really have a plot line. Like if he could like been in the bookmobile and looked at something and been like, "Oh, reading is stupid," and then been like, "Oh, I can't read," and then in the next scene, a chicken gets fucked and they're doing it with the boys. Oh, we hear the commotion. What's that outside? Which apparently the farmer's land is now across the street from the school, which by my recollection of the last 2 South Park games, that's not accurate. Okay, the farmer's ranch is up north near Canada. All right, so I'm just pointing.
Yep.
But this was the early, the early episode itself. So they also, as I put down in my notes here, that this was the first episode as far as like some of the, I would say the underlying tones or different synopsis of this episode was that they kind of actually gave Officer Barbrady character development in this episode we see. Now, we'll of course can get to see it once again in the later seasons around season 20, season 21, when the ninjas episode. The little ISIS kids are shooting.
Oh, they're ninjas? That's gay.
Oh, that's good. You shot kids. I'm sorry.
Hey, man. Those kids are tough. They were Mongolians before.
That's
remember?
True. That's true. We haven't gotten there yet, but that is true. So after visiting that, and finding out that someone has apparently raped this chicken, Officer Barbrady starts his investigation. He's confronted with his inability to read when he's able to read a note left by the attacker. I'm sorry. The chicken fucker.
Hey, what's this? It looks like a note.
Give me that! That's a clue, and you'll get your stinky DNA all over it!
What does it say?
It says, sorry I had sex with the chicken. I won't do it again. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Case closed.
Damn it, Barbrady, what the hell's wrong with you? Every time something happens in this town, you say, nothing to see here and case closed. But we want justice. We have to find this sicko.
I said return to your homes before I start arresting people.
Yes.
Now he resigns. He move along, everyone, get out of here, nothing to see here. And you see like the farmer like, no!
Sorry, I had sex with the chicken. I won't do it again. Bye-bye. Nothing to see here, people.
And it's like the one guy asks him, Bob Brady, why does when anything happen, you tell us to move along? There's nothing to see here. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
When there's clearly something to see here.
Get out of here before I start arresting people. For what? Orderly conduct? If you do not disperse, I will force to execute each and every one of you by gunshot to the head.
And everyone just disperses, and then all of a sudden, Bar Brady is just he's basically, goes to his next press conference. He's driving on his way home first. He throws the letter out the window, right? And he's all like, he can't even read the stop signs and shit all of a sudden, which is just like ridiculous because you know what red means stop and green means go. Come on. Which I guess is his only way of like moving forward in his day-to-day life as a cop, right?
Right.
But he goes into his press conference and they were just talking about the chicken lover. And he's all like trying to sound smart. Yeah, with advancements in DNA, science, and evidence, we still haven't yielded any results. And he goes, all right. I can't read. I admit it, okay? You want to break me down?
We skipped when he pulls into the bank and asks for food. And that's when he's like, oh. And that's when he admits that he can't read, right?
I'd like a burger and some jalapeno poppers.
Welcome to France. Can I help you? Sir, can I help you? Just give me 2 cheeseburgers and some jalapeno poppers. Sure, there's just one problem. What's that? We're a bank. I know that, smarty pants. What do you think, I'm some kind of idiot? Yes.
There's just one problem, sir. What's that? We're a bank. I knew that, smarty pants. What do you think I am, some kind of idiot? Yes.
Yes.
It's a good point. Good call out. So,
yeah, but then it moves into the press conference. But
Yeah.
Matt's right. That's when he first admits to everybody.
But has Chicken left any clues at the crime?
All right. I can't read. There, I said it. I can't read. Are you happy now? You pushed, and now you all know my terrible secret. I'm illegitimate. I'm not fit to be a policeman. I retire.
So after he says he's going to retire, basically he's in shame. Oh, I'm shamed. I'm done. I'm out of here. So after
How
he
will the
retires,
town cope without a police force?
right? And then like literally 2 minutes later, the town has been taken over by chaos.
Brick comes flying through the window.
Some guy
This
jumps
just
up-
in. Riots have erupted in South Park.
there's some
It's
guy
not
in the
even 2
background
minutes later.
taking
Not
the
even.
signs and shit like that. Like people on the street, like there's a later on scene where we see outside City Hall. I don't want to jump forward, but I just remember right now. Some guy's like, shh. He's like carrying a TV. Shh, shut up. They're gonna hear us. Like, like you just see 3 guys like running across the screen with a television. Like everyone's rioting and shit now, because there's no like. Apparently, Officer Bar Brady, as the mayor then mentions, oh god damn it, that stupid idiot was keeping all these people in line. Oh, you really think Officer Bar Brady is smart? No, he's an idiot. So he's just the Lord of the Flies in this situation, right?
Is that what the undertones is of this? Is Lord of the Fliesy?
Interesting.
Mm.
My head. That popped into my head. I will say though, I think there was definitely some totalitarian style of undertone in this, episode with Bar Brady saying at the beginning of the episode, "Get out of here! Or I'll be forced to execute you if you don't leave the scene." Also, we haven't mentioned yet, but while this is also going on, there is a cops parody with Officer Bar Brady.
Well, being an officer of the peace means a lot of things. It's a hard job, but then again, I'm a hard man. A lot of people think that in a small town, there isn't a lot for the law to do. Well, they're wrong.
All units, report to 254 Avenue de los Mexicanos. Possible hostile situation.
There you see? This could be a bank robbery, or possibly even a murder. This ain't no podunk little town.
And Bar Brady, your wife called. She wants you to get some pizza on the way home.
God damn it.
And he's like, on this week on cabs. And he's like driving down the road. And I have something that I wrote down. I don't know if you guys caught. At the beginning of this cop's focus, somebody says on the intercom, Barb Brady, your wife called. She says, get some pizza on the way home. I didn't fucking know Barb Brady had a wife.
Nope, it's never mentioned again after this episode, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not. It's not mentioned ever again after this.
And also, I mean, granted, they'd say later on in the episode with Cartman or for additional backup, calling all cars, or be all outside. There was only like one cop. So, like, who's the dispatcher? Like,
Yeah, who's the dispatcher? Who are the units? Where's...
I mean, it takes a while before we get introduced to Nice. But, like, it's just weird that we haven't, like, Officer Barb Brady held down this podunk town for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was going to bring up another question, is where does the other police force come from? Like the detectives? Have they been there this whole time, or?
That's a good question. Like, I don't think they come. Did it really start coming on? I feel like they don't come on until the nice stuff, like the nice.
Yeah. I think it's at least season 10 before they really start showing up.
So after that, then the mayor gets confronted by the media. They're asking her what she's going to do. And the assistants come up with the idea, which had a more prominent role in this episode, mind you. They started off with, he's going to go back to school. So Happy Gilmore style is what I got from this. He's going to go back and I tie my shoes white and I tie my shoes white and I hope I don't get into a fight. Like,
wasn't that Billy Madison?
Oh, Billy Madison. I'm sorry. It was an Adam
okay.
Sandler. You were right. No, it's Billy Madison. Adam Sandler. Yeah. Good. That's what I got the vibe I got. He had to go back to school so he can get back his job. So they put him in the reading school. I'm going to jump here to the reading school now, because while that's going on, like, the chicken lover is, I think he strikes again, right? And he still can't read it. So, like, that's what happens. He strikes again. They still can't read it. What are you going to do? We're going to send Barb Brady back to school. So he goes back to school. Now, Mr. Garrison, takes 100% joy and throw it into the fact of Barb Brady's face that he's a fucking moron.
Wrong, dumbass. I used to be my text tone for the longest time.
The sentence he gives him at first is just the best ever, though. Oprah Winfrey has huge knockers.
Oh man, Oprah Winfrey, huge knockers. That's right. And then he tries to give him a simpler one that's like the hat is red, and like, you dumbass.
Did you hear that, Mr. Hat? I sure did, Mr. Garrison. What a retard. And of course, I need to go poopy. Officer Barb Brady, in school we go to the bathroom before and after class. Christ, how do you kids do it?
Right?
How do you kids do it?
It's all laughing at it, like Garrison's making fun of. He asked Stan, or he asked the kids, "Do you guys really learn like this?" And Stan's like, "Yeah, not really. We just kind of fake it until he leaves us alone." Which kind of makes sense later with Cartman when he fakes his book report. But
have you been? No. Oh, okay.
Okay. So
I'm prepared.
Right. Before we get there, though, they're outside. Like, Officer Barb Brady's like having a good time on like the jungle gym. School days, we round Rosie, whatever he's singing.
Swing set.
Swing set. So he's on the swings, and then the mayor shows up after both the kids are like, I think Officer Barb Brady really enjoys being a kid. And they show up and they threaten him like, hey, you got to read this faster. They try to get him to read it. He's like, I can't read that. That's silent E's. And they're like, You better figure it out. And as they're walking away, one of the staff members, the assistant's aides,
You have to learn to read faster, Barb Brady.
I'm doing the best I can. I even got an A on my book report.
Listen, buddy, either you learn to read quick or else I'm gonna find a law officer to replace you forever.
Hey, what'd you do that for? Just dramatic effect, sorry.
pops the ball of the stage holding. The guy's like, hey, why'd you do that? He's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. That was for dramatic effect.
No. yeah, dramatic effect.
Like he only apologizes to the other aide, not to the kids. He's like, I'm sorry. I did that for dramatic effect. One of the aides has a conscience enough to like, yo, what are you doing? Like, why are you popping that kid's ball? Like, fucked up, dude. Oh, so yeah, good stuff going on there. Now, ultimately, at this point in the episode, as they're in the backyard, they come to the conclusion that Officer Barb Brady cannot be in both places at once. He can't learn how to go to school, and he can't take over and be an officer and be a man of the law and be everywhere in the town. So under article whatever it was of the city charter, he's allowed to deputize and decides to deputize the boys. Interestingly enough, even though Kenny does get deputized, I believe, he doesn't really use his authority. But nope. Cartman, let's just say that we get one of Cartman's
I'm gonna need you to baby
cold classic.
Step out of car, please.
I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of car, please.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to step out of car, please. Step out of car.
Step out of car, sir.
He knocks on. I can't wait. I gotta say it now. When he knocks on Kenny's door and he's already just there.
Step out of car.
Yeah, step out of car, please.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Cartman becomes an icon in this fucking episode. Like, there was a couple good episodes we talked about. You know, starts off with Cartman gets an anal probe in the first season, and he's got his highs and lows, but this one cements him as a cult classic character just from respect my authority, which gets introduced in this episode itself. So Barb Brady deputizes. He promotes the boys to deputies to help him in his task. Before that, though, they're actually back in the classroom and they do the book report, as we kind of mentioned. Cartman, he gets asked, he's like, pigeon, baby. Like, maybe you should pick cat. Maybe you should pick cat. I stand. And Garrison's like, I want to pick you. Or, calls on Cartman. Cartman comes up and he's like, I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Have you read that book, Mr. Garrison?
Have you read it, Mr. Garrison?
No, I can't say that I have.
Oh, good. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, a bunch of hippies walk around and paint stuff. They eat lunch, and then they find a magical camel, which they have to eat to stay alive. And that's pretty much it. I give it a B-.
And I give you an F, Eric. Now sit down.
Ah, damn it!
I can't say that I have, Eric.
Right. So,
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is about these hippies.
so he goes on this crazy story about hippies walking through the forest, looking art or something like that. And
no, they had a magical camel that they had to eat to survive. All in all, I give it an A-. And I give you an F. Now sit down. God damn it.
God damn it.
And then Officer Barb Brady, I just knocked over my mic shit, so I apologize. But Officer Barb Brady has the stupidest story. It's Go Dog Go or whatever it is.
The heartwarming novel, Go Dog Go.
He starts to read it and it's maybe 3 sentences in and he goes, well, I don't want to spoil it for you. But it has some great twists and turns
that parallel my own life.
Ian, are you on mute? Ian, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yep, he's on mute.
Oh, shit. This is the riveting tale of a disturbing look into a dog's life.
The canine psyche.
Oh man, she Garrison gives him an A. He's Cartman just pissed. He's like, but there was a prime example there. Cartman like basically trying to fake it, if you will, but he didn't even like at least read the back cover or like try to go to the last chapter and read the book, find out what happens in the conclusion. Like that's how you could get over, like on like if you ever wanted like. If there no kids should be listening to this podcast ever, but if you're a horrible parent and you let your kid listen to this, bravo to you. If you need to do a book report, kid, all you've got to do is you need to read the about the book in the front, in the back, read about the author, okay, and then read the first chapter, read the like first page and the second page of like the second and third chapters, then go halfway to the book, read that part, read that chapter. And then go to the end and just read the last chapter. And I guarantee you could fake your way to a book report with that. Matt's foolproof plan on how to get through a book report. Because at that point, you're getting the four main things that create a story. You're getting the intro, you're getting the conflict, you're getting the climax, and you're getting the resolution. So like you get all four of that right there, you can get through any book report, guys. I'm just telling you. Bam.
That is correct.
We didn't have Cliff Notes back in the day. You had to come up with ideas.
It's true.
Like, or if you did have Cliff Notes, you had to pay for it. Like, I remember when I first got into college and like Facebook was closed, like only to, like college students at the time. And like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to get some Cliff Notes for this class. So I don't have to read this book. And it was like, you can get Cliff Notes for $9.99 a month. And I was like, fuck that. Like, I'll just read the book.
Went to the library and Xeroxed that shit.
There you go.
Wasn't gonna do that. I wasn't gonna do that. I was too lazy for that. At that point, everybody was playing World of Warcraft, and I was just trying to fucking get homework done in general. Like my fucking roommate would be up all night playing World of Warcraft. Here I am fucking working like overnight at my job, and then like coming home and doing homework, and he's still fucking up playing World of Warcraft and shit. Like I'm just like, God damn. People were like insane into that game, like addicted to it, like it was fucking heroin or something.
Matt, bathroom.
Never did that shit.
Oh, that's a big boy, huh? What do we do now? What do you mean, what do we do? Now we play the game.
Hey, go ahead and put up Arc, whatever he says. All right, so from there on and back to the episode, Cartman is now been deputized. So now he becomes the center of attention on the show. Caps. So like he's driving around the town. Yeah, this big guy would try to town, man. And then like all of a sudden, Randy's speeds by him or going the speed limit as we find out. Because Cartman pulls him over and he goes, shit, you know how fast you were going. The speed limit is 40 miles per hour. He's like, 40 miles per hour. He's like, shit, I'm gonna need to step out of the car. And he's like, wait a minute, aren't you my son's friend? Shit, get out of the car, dude. So he steps out of the car and he's like, yeah, you are. You're that little fat kid who always clogs up my toilets.
I am an officer of the law, and
you will respect my authority.
And then he like all of a sudden just starts hitting his kneecaps.
with the nightstick and screaming at Randy, get your ass to jail.
Get your ass to jail.
And he's like having like a sexual orgasm. It's like, yeah, this is sweet. And he's like beating him off, if you will, with the nightstick. Oh man!
Hooray! Nightsticks for everyone.
I know I've had my brush ups with the law, but I've never been beaten down by any of law enforcement. Have either of you gentlemen been procured in a aggressive manner by a law officer?
Never aggressive. Well, never aggressive.
Greg, I know you seem like you might be
Yeah. I've been thrown around.
Fuck you, raise the system kind of guy. Right side review.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. When they're already beating you down for being drunk in public, it's probably not a good idea to make a joke about somebody that recently got shot on the squad.
You're
Probably not a very good idea.
And never quite got hit with a nightstick, but let me tell you something. Them padded gloves they put on, there's metal on the insides of them. I'd rather be hit with fists.
So now, Cartman's still patrolling the town. He's like, pulling more people over. Hey, you're just at, but this is like one of my favorite parts of this whole episode. Okay. So sometimes you gotta go undercover.
Standing there like this.
Sometimes you have to go undercover to get the worst of them.
Hi there, little lady.
Well, hi there. What are you doing tonight?
Well, hopefully spending some time with you, gorgeous. Is $20 enough?
Sir, step out of the car, please.
What? Uh-oh, is this a bust?
Sir, is your car?
Hey, wait a minute. You're just a kid.
Maybe this would teach you to listen to authority.
Ow! Ooh! Ow! Ow! Hey, man, what are you doing? Ow! Stop it!
He's standing there with a regular outfit on, just a pink skirt. That's all he's wearing. And some guy just going, "Hey, baby, how you doing tonight?" And yeah.
It's like you can totally tell it's a cop, little kid in a cop uniform with a tutu on.
Well,
Like, come on.
My night will be better with you.
Yeah, hopefully spending a little time with you, sweetheart.
And then, like in this case scenario, this guy was an idiot, but good thing for Cartman, he didn't have to take it all the way and with stretch. In this case, he only had to right freeze, buddy. You're going down. No, in this case, he only had to wait for the guy to just say, "Would $20 do it?" And he's like, "Shit." He like flashes his badge. Shit. I mean, you just kid.
Is this a bust?
Man, you're just a kid. And then he starts beating him down with a nightstick too.
In the kneecaps.
In the kneecaps. Then let's just roll on the subject talking about Cartman. Then Cartman moves on to a very historic address in South Park history, 635 Avenue de los Mexicanos, where a Kenny family, Kenny's poor, and apparently he's got, at this point in time, Kenny's got 10 people are living in his house, Scoop. 10 people.
Including some guy, Bob, he met last year.
Yeah.
His uncle too, right?
Ian, you come from a big family. How many people are the most people you've ever had living in your house? 7, maybe 8 or 9 when Grandma came for the whole month that one time.
7 was the most.
I know you. I have just me and my sister. 8? See, I knew it. Me and my sister, but that was like probably just like visiting. It wasn't like permanent, right? You know what I mean?
His sister stayed for like a summer.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. That doesn't count as living. That's vacationing with your family members and shit like that. These were like, Bob's been living there for a fucking year, Ian. You know what I'm saying? He just
and all he probably did was help him jump his truck or something.
Right. Hey, I can help you. Yeah, you want to come back to my house for a beer and
some meth?
Oatmeal, maybe? Maybe we can make some oatmeal or something. Yeah, right. And all of a sudden, Bob's there. He's part of the meth house. That's a good point. That's a good call. This early on in the episode, while they don't really show it, they're fucking meth heads. Or crackheads.
Mm-hmm.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they were crackheads at this point. Yeah.
So
I think they changed it to meth in the later seasons just because it's more topical now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. So after all that's going on, Barb Brady is now with Stan and Kyle and Kenny as they're all investigating these different clues from Timid the taxidermist and Bumbly or something, whatever it was. Like
Bumbly Wumbly and the Spotted Spacecraft.
Spotted Space.
That's a magical book with plenty of. Just give me the damn book, fruitcake.
Gee, is Reedy gonna turn us into something like him, or is he gonna make us like him? Damn, Reedy.
He's following these clues, and they're going around a different way. And as he's doing this each time, there's like at one point, like there's some chickens in a small little chicken coop, little barn, and then like it's the chicken lover with like a regular like tray voice.
Said, what are nice chickens like you doing in a coop like this?
Hello, little chicken.
What are nice chickens like you doing it
Right, what
like this? Someone broke in and had sex with Carla Weathers' prize chicken. She's catatonic. Carla Weathers or the chicken?
Jesus Christ.
He's just fucking chickens. Weird. Fucking weird though. Like that's just a weird premise to fuck chicken. I still haven't figured out. Maybe we will by the end of the episode why they chose chicken fuck. But so after that, eventually this kind of all comes to a head as we've got Bar Brady following the clues, and as he's following the clues along, he eventually gets to a point where he doesn't want to read anymore. He starts to give up. The boys are all like, they're in the library. They're all like trying to like, what's the word I guess I'm looking for? They're all trying
inspire.
Yeah, inspire. They're trying to inspire him, get him off his feet. You can do it, Bar Brady. So Bar Brady finally was able to break down the last clue, the petting zoo. So they go to the petting zoo. Now they're waiting. They're waiting for this chicken fucker. And back at the McCormick's house, Cartman has showed up at the De Los Mexicanos as there's a domestic disturbance with the meth heads, and he starts beating them up as Kenny and his brother in the background are laughing.
Cartman's best line in the whole episode outside of authority.
Poor people tend to live in clusters.
What?
Yeah, poor people tend to live in clusters. What did you say?
My favorite line from this episode came right before that with the prostitution.
Yeah, sometimes upholding the law is messy, but you get by one day at a time.
Sometimes upholding the law is messy, but you get by one day at a time.
And instead of cops, it comes up Cartman.
Well, I think that's how they do it in Cops, though, too. Like when they're done, I think, like with the scene, they just the name. They don't do the actual end of the show until the logo. Okay, so after, like we mentioned, now Cartman gets a something on the radio. All units report to the petting zoo. So he gets to the petting zoo. Everyone's now there. Bar Brady, the boys. While all this is going on, Kenny doesn't die from different scenarios from a plane, I think, crashed on him or something like that.
Yes. Comes right down out of the sky, runs into him directly. Oh my God, they killed. And he steps outside of it. God damn it. Hi guys, I'm okay.
Right? So Kenny does not die in this episode early on. He's just evading all these deaths. And so now they're all there. Even Bar Brady shoots him here at one point by accident. And Kenny's like, oh, no, that's what we mentioned. Oh, no, it was only my jacket. So he doesn't get hit and die here. However, the chicken lover is in the bushes fucking a chicken. They jump into the bushes. Or Bar Brady does, stops and pulls out, as you mentioned, the Richard Nixon. I got you! I knew it was all along, Nixon.
Got you. I think that's a mask, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And also, right before that, when Bar Brady's talking to the kids about it, somebody's going to have sex with this chicken any minute. And the chicken puts its wing up and goes, ooh.
The chicken's waiting to take it.
Yeah.
Chicken's waiting to take it. So after he reveals it to be the chicken lover's all like fucking proud and shit. How did you know I was here? Well, I read the whatever it was, the
taxidermist.
Right, Timmy goes to taxidermist. Then my plan worked, all because of the wonders of reading. What?
Reading.
You see? Don't you see? I should have this whole plan so I was about ready. Could learn how to read.
Yes. Don't you see?
Don't you
Only by fucking chickens could I give him the confidence.
Well, no, first, I was gonna say Stan first says.
So you f***ed a bunch of chickens?
Yes, exactly. Don't you see? Only by f***ing chickens could I get Officer Barbrady to become literate.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, dude.
So you fucked a bunch of chickens? And then he goes, so yes, only by fucking chickens can I show Officer Barbrady the wonders of reading. I had to get his attention. The thing was, they were going. I think if Cartman hadn't showed up, they would have let this fucking chicken lover go, because like he let him go, and he's like, "Don't you see? Don't you love reading?" And Barbrady's kind of agreeing with him, like, "Yeah, you're right." So Cartman rolls up and he starts hitting him with the nightstick, and he's like in the kneecaps, and he's like, "No, you don't do that. You gotta hit him over the head, knock him out."
So go down quicker.
So he knocks him out. They conclude that Cartman is not ready to be a full-time police officer for now. And Barbrady is like, they're like, "What are you going to do tonight?" And he's like, "I'm going to go home." Oh, no, first, because the chicken lover's like, "You've graduated to, what is it, the Struggles or whatever."
Atlas Shrugged by Anne Rand.
By Anne Rand. And they're like, "All right, Barbrady. Well, Barbrady, what are you going to go do today?" He's like, "I'm going to go home and I'm going to read. I'll take a hot bath and read a good book." And they're all just like looking at him, like as like Robert T. Pooner comes up on screen. It says created by Robert T. Pooner. Then we go cut now to, I believe it was a parade, right? Now they're at the parade. Jesus is driving the pickup truck. I don't know if you noticed that. Scoop, you've been awfully quiet. Did you notice anything there?
I'm looking up what Atlas Shrugged was about, and apparently it's
about a totalitarian society, I believe.
Yeah, where basically this is how I'm gonna interpret it, is if like heroes basically gave up regular people and only protected rich. I don't know, like the higher up people. I don't know.
Am I about to read a new book?
I don't know, dude. This book looks nuts.
I agree with Barbrady. You don't need to read Ayn Rand.
Because this piece of shit.
If you want the summary of it, just listen to Rush's 2112 and read the lyrics to that in Hemispheres, and you'll get the basic gist.
Okay. Well, as Scoop alluded there, Officer Barbrady's at the parade, and they're asked for a speech, and the conclusion basically of his speech is he learns that he hates reading. He's like, "I read this whole book, cover to cover, front to back, and this book sucked."
Because this piece of shit, I'm never reading again.
Because of this piece of shit, I'll never read again. And they're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Cheers for Barbrady." Stan's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm so glad we figured out that reading really sucks." Cartman's like, "That's what I've been saying the whole time." Which is that callback to the beginning, his first line out of the episode. "Reading sucks ass." So, Cartman's point was proven. And then the episode ends like it does the whole Robert T. Pooner 80s style thing, or 70s, 80s. Dun, 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 dun. And then like in like a slow motion, one clip, a tree just falls on Kenny. He dies.
Yep.
Hilarious. Okay, so before we end this episode, I want to talk about this, this freeze ending stuff. So about 20 minutes before we started the recording of this, I was trying to decipher if this was an original track. And by all accounts, from what I can find out, it is an original South Park Matt Stone created music for them, right? However, I was able to find some similarities with the styles from the 70s and the 60s, if you will. Most specifically, it sounds very resemblant to Charlie's Angels. So if you go back and listen to that intro theme from the 1976 or what on the early Charlie's Angels, very similar style. But you can also hear other things like these. What's the story of the police? I also heard stories from San Francisco. Like I did some research. Like I was trying to find this song, but I think it was original. Probably created by Primus, who I know they worked with on and off, like throughout, who does a lot of their original scores for the show. So
it does remind me a little bit of the A-Team theme too.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the reason why I was saying like Charlie's Angels here, I'll pull it up here because I've probably got them all in my history of YouTube of before I came on there. Hopefully, this doesn't break. Oh, you know what? I can't because I'm on. No, wait, let me turn off my my Wi-Fi here.
Oh, and speaking of songs, I might as well mention it now. On the DVD and VHS release of this episode, which I believe was also packaged with Ike's Wee Wee, because that was the one before this. Another great episode. Matt and Trey do like intros and outros for each episode. And when I first watched it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. They're going to give a little background. But no, it's just totally ridiculous and hilarious. And at the beginning of Chicken Lover, they are entertaining at an old folks' home in very nice Argyle sweatshirts with a acoustic guitar as Matt screams along in a death metal voice. And most of what he says is actually nonsense, but I think that might actually be the first time he goes, live a lie, like that, because Timmy wasn't a character yet at that point. So I always thought that was neat. But as they're going along doing their acoustic death metal song, they stop and they give the intro, and this old man's like, I want to get up. I got to leave. I got things to do.
Well, that's right, because
threatens with a ninja star. You stop right now, old man, or I'll throw a ninja star right in your forehead. It goes to say something else. Ninja star, old man. And then they say, oh, enjoy Chicken Lover, and start playing the song again. Comes back to the end. They finish it. The old man gets up to leave again. And sure enough, not believe, but sure enough, Trey kills him with the ninja star.
Yeah, we had planned in the future to maybe do a full-on like DVD commentary because they only did those skits for so long. I believe it was like just like the first 2 through 4 seasons. There was only like 2 or 3 seasons they did this, and then eventually, like they still do commentary. I know it's something they don't like to do because I have like the first 10 to 14 seasons somewhere, I think, in my storage somewhere, and like as you're listening to it, they're like, we fucking hate doing these commentary things, so they just fucking have fun and get high and like just talk about the episode, like by the end of the DVD commentary when you're watching the thing, they're like, are we done? Is this done? All right, cool, turn the thing off. But like one of the interesting ones I found was when they talk about some of their band episodes, like especially when they talk about the episode 200 and 201. And they're like, yeah, we were pretty fucking pissed because we were like, dude, fuck these people. Like, I don't fucking care. So here's the Charlie's Angels theme song to reference the episode again. Oh, well, that's a fucking Domino's ad. Fuck you. You're not paying me to run your shit. All right. So this is the Charlie's Angels theme song, which I think is kind of similar. Right? It's very similar. So, like, I think it's like a cross between the Charlie's Angels theme song and, like, if you listen to, here's the streets of San Francisco. It's like a nice cross between.
Yeah.
It's like if you took that and then mashed it with the Charlie's Angels one almost. Like, I feel like you'd kind of come up with that. But then, like, there's one more. There's a really good one because this is just a funky band. Like, if you just look up Jerry Goldsmith and just listen to, like, some of the music he made, the original scores for Police Story.
Wait, have to find this Robert T. Pooner guy.
Jerry Goldsmith passed away.
And this is Jerry Goldsmith. This guy's fucking good. I've been listening to his shit now. Just because of this, I was like, oh, this is crunchy. So that was the completion episode of South Park, guys. So let's wrap up here as we get toward the end here on our Easter Sunday, because gotta go be a daddy. So let's talk about as I mentioned, the public reception. So originally, Cartman was supposed to receive a gun during his stint as a deputy police officer, but Comedy Central censors were reluctant to show a child with a firearm in the capacity versus like humans, whereas they allowed him to do it in Volcano when they were shooting at animals. However, as you guys mentioned, this titled this episode and censored, Chicken Fucker was the original name, but it was changed as Comedy Central did not want profane wording in any of its titles. We also talked about right.
The more we go through this, the more I'm learning that Comedy Central is just a big fucking pussy.
Which is weird.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Which is weird because, like, I feel like they're owned by Penn and Teller, right? Or at least Penn. He's the majority owner of Comedy Central. He's a magician. He's a comedian. But yeah, I think he's very liberal, I hear. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. So now this is as we mentioned, this was the first episode that introduced Respect My Authority, which has been, referenced in a couple other episodes in the later years. And when Cartman does it, you pop, Respect My Authority! You're like, yeah, you said it. It was like in the last season's episode, and me and Ian talked about this when it happened. And I've talked about it probably in the last season's reviews when we're doing it. It's probably one of my biggest moments as far as a South Park fan was the last episode in season 23. In that episode, the season where Stan starts his band, and they do the finger bang recreation too. I popped so hard for so many things in that episode. I popped hard for the fact that they explained why Butters wasn't the drummer in this band. I popped hard for the finger bang shit. It was so good. Like, I was literally laying down and I jumped out of my bed when finger bang came on, and I was like, holy fuck, they're doing it. Like, I love you. Like, I fucking love you. So anyway, not to get off on a tangent, they do a very good job of setting these little breadcrumbs here and then bringing it back around later. And this was the very first one, I think, that kind of really caught on. Respect My Authority. And, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, was a big one as well. We mentioned that Barb Brady, basically kind of got some character depth in this episode. They kind of gave him a working arc as a storyline, a character. He had to learn how to read. And he's also the purveyor of power in this episode. Without Barb Brady, everything goes to shit.
Very quickly, too.
Mm-hmm.
Very quickly, indeed. So after that, then we get on to the last thing here. Some of the underlying tones of the episode, as we mentioned, the abuse of power. As Cartman, as you notice in the beginning, with Officer Barb Brady, and he threatens the town with violence. Then you've got Cartman now, who becomes a deputy, and he's utilizing his newfound authority to beat people up with his nightstick, and kind of using this way to incite others to act. Is the whole overarching art, fear and violence, whether it's through trying to terrorize people through law, or trying to sexually fuck a chicken so you can get somebody else to act upon their own best interest to better themselves in some sycophantic style of way. What do you guys think, Scoop?
Huh?
You don't got nothing for me?
Not about that. I don't.
You don't think there's any you don't have any thoughts on using fear as a way to incite others to act? We don't kind of see the parallels, maybe what's going on right now in our day-to-day life as we're locked down.
Okay. Well, no. All right.
I think it's a very good comment on society, though, and the fact that that's the go-to to try to teach anybody anything.
Right. And the fact that this was made in 98, and we can correlate to it right now.
Yep. God, I miss the days when our biggest problem was somebody that got a blowjob in the Oval Office.
Right? Right? Jesus.
Right? What happened to trickle down? Trickle down economics. Right? Reagan wins. Reagan smash.
I got some jelly beans here.
Tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev. So yeah, what happened to our great presidents and great lineage? Nothing. Now, back in the day when the computers first just started, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll use that, but whatever. I'm gonna go play my 64. I'm gonna go to my friend's house, and we're gonna go outside and hang out. And now kids are just glued to their phones and shit, and they're just like hanging out in rooms but texting each other.
Yeah, that's still one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. They don't say one word to each other. They just sit there and text back and forth. I don't get it.
One will look up.
It's not
Oh my god, I
logical,
know.
Captain. Oh yeah.
Was that again, Ian?
Like you see a group of people sitting around and all on their phones, and all of a sudden one will look up and go, "Oh my god, I know," and then look back down at their phone.
I haven't seen that yet. I guess I need to get out more. I work overnight by myself, so like when I'm not working, I just go home, and then like this quarantine thing started, and everyone's like, "Good day." I'm like, I've been preparing, like I'm ready to go, like I'm pretty chilling, like 'cause this is my day-to-day life anyway. So, am I allowed to go to the store? Yeah. Can I go buy weed? Yeah. All right, well, I'll be fine. Like that's
Right?
like
As long as I can get weed and groceries.
I guess I'll just buy my weed instead of supporting my local game store and buying used games and carts. I just downloaded every SNES game on my Wii. So, whatever. It was only 5 gigs. Fuck it, right? I have a 128 gig SD card. Fuck.
No, it's just insane that only takes up 5 gigs, but I used to have totes of the fucking cartridges in my basement, and I didn't even have them all.
And that's including Japanese, PAL, France, and USA. Because like you don't.
Oh wow.
I mean, like this website, I can send it to you if you want. I can send it to both of you. It's like an Internet Archive website. It goes all the way up, basically cartridges only, like all the early carts, all the way up to 64. And then after that, it doesn't have any other games. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's like some sort of eminent domain at that point because they're so old. And as long as you're not reproducing and reselling them, then you're allowed to like enjoy for your own usage at that point because it's been 20, 30 years for some of these fucking things, right? Obviously, Nintendo is still selling it. You can't resell it and shit without their official license and approval, but you can't really stop people at this point. There's been so many things made. But anyway, it's a zip file. So you download it, and the zip file is 2.9 compressed. And then, like, you unzip it, and you look in it, and then, like, rather than unzipping it, though, I just unzipped everything onto the SD card. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to go through all this shit. Unzip it all. Like, so like, then I put the SD card in the Wii and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh shit, I've got like 5 variations of Mega Man X. Like, that's crazy. Like I got like every Dragon Ball Z Super Famicom version and shit on there. I don't know what they're saying, but I can move around fucking with Kakarot. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
Speaking of pretty sweet, Ian, let's talk about our top moments. All right, let's talk about. Go ahead. What's your top moments in this episode?
So my number one. This took me a little bit, but my number one was the calling all units. When Officer Barbrady's sitting there, and all of a sudden we get calling all units. It's like, what other units? It's just Officer Barbrady. You lost Officer Barbrady, the whole town went into complete chaos. So are you saying that there's more cops and Officer Barbrady is the only one that does anything? Or I don't know, because I thought that was just hilarious. Because we just went through this whole thing where we find out Officer Barbrady is basically the only officer. And we have a dispatcher, and then we have units.
Well, the dispatcher doesn't make a lot of sense, but I could see them saying all units because you do have Cartman, who is deputized through his big wheel now, and Barbrady.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, but do they say calling all units early on in the episode, or was that just him saying Barbrady, your wife needs to pick up some pizza?
Yeah, I think he just says something about picking up pizza, but I don't remember.
Gotcha. All right, that's a good point though. What was so Greg? You had here as your first favorite moment, Cartman responding to domestic disturbance at Kenny's house and saying, "Poor people tend to live in clusters."
Oh yeah, that's just perfect. I mean, like an episode of Jerry Springer.
And speaking of that, my first one was Cartman's getting a tingly feeling. Ian, what was your second top moment you liked?
Bar Brady's ending speech, talking about how he read Atlas Shrugged and because of this piece of shit, I'm never reading again.
I would. It sounds like this book is bad. People have been telling me to go finally watch V for Vendetta, a movie I have yet to see. Still to this day, I made like some sort of like dumb pack when you're in school with somebody because we had just got done reading 1984. And at that point, when you're a high school kid, you're like, I don't want to fucking read 1984. And then V for Vendetta came out, and it was like, oh, this movie's based on the book. And we were like, oh, fuck that. I don't want to see this movie. And then me and my friend were like, how about we make a pact? Never see this movie. Agreed. So, like, I still have never seen that movie, like, I don't know, I guess 14, 16 years later. So, but now that we're kind of getting toward the end of the world, maybe I need to see it. My second favorite moment in this episode was Cartman dressing up as a prostitute.
For a good time, sir? Step out of car, please.
Greg, your second moment you put here was Kenny not dying until the very end. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. Oh wait, God damn it.
Yeah. I just love those lines and the build up. Oh my God, they killed. Oh, never mind.
Oh, God damn it.
Right, because they multiple times throughout this episode they made you think Kenny was going to die, and he did not. So this was one of the second or third times where they played with your charm about like almost him dying. Because there was a couple other episodes, like in the America's Funniest Home Videos, they kind of teased it where he gets run around with the RC car. Oh no, guys, I'm okay. And then boom, the train hits him. So like they've been playing these jokes and games where like he almost dies, but then he really dies. This episode, they played the whole episode until the very end, and then just a little paper mache tree falls on him. Bloop, he's dead. Ian, what was your third moment, sir?
All right, so my third moment is just like you can consider it kind of like a bunch of moments. It's Cartman Cop. Everything about it. It's basically like almost an episode within an episode, in my opinion, because it's just almost like you can kind of separate it and keep playing along, like this parody on a Cops episode with Cartman Cop. Really, step out of the vehicle, please. Step out of the car.
Yeah, I think you could definitely, if they had really wanted to, at the height of this episode, maybe they could have like made a spin-off short series with just Cartman just being a cop.
You respect my authority. Yeah. Step out of the car, please.
I almost want like now a mobile version of Cops and Robbers as with South Park, and you just have like Cartman leading a fleet of teams. You got rig him, guys. You got rig him. So my next moment here was the Billy Madison of Bar Brady going back to school. Just a stupid, idiotic, hanging out in the like a fourth grade classroom. Or third grade, I'm sorry, learning how to read. Like he didn't get like a private tutor or something like that. Why did he have to go back to school like an idiot and like learn how to read this way? I don't know. It just was hilarious and it made me laugh. For your third moment, you put Oprah Winfrey has huge knockers as a written sentence and Garrison mocking Bar Brady overall.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of the episode, just Garrison in class. And then, I love how rich the background stuff was at this point, too. Like the special report on the chicken fucker is called Plot.
Right?
That's a good point. Okay, so then the next one here, Ian, you're up, buddy.
Bar Brady's riveting book report on Go Dog Go. My book report was on the riveting tale and the disturbing look and the daily life of a dog and dog psyche in Go Dog Go.
Big dog, little dog. Sorry.
Not to give out any spoilers.
Yes, Officer Barbrady in this part of the episode was very riveting as a character. He's just so innocent and dumb that he doesn't even understand that he's comical.
Right. This is the best character development we get into Barbrady, and it's pretty much the only.
Well, right now, we don't get it till later seasons. Because he reads that heartwarming, a red dog, because how he, big dog, little dog, a red dog on a. Well, anyway, I'm not one to give away the ending, but I will say that it smiles towards an incredible twist turn that parallels my own life.
Twist turns that parallel my own life.
Oh man, okay. My next one was the title of the romance novels. I really like this. Sabrina Unchained. The Adrian Encounter.
The Adrian Encounter.
That's what Cartman was holding too. That's why he was gonna take these.
Sweet.
And Bound to Love. And that's the one Kenny was reading. This one has a bunch of vaginas and penises. You put for your fourth thing, Greg, that the episode started between Garrison and Cartman. You like that?
Yep. Yeah. We don't need to go over that again. We talked about it plenty of times.
So that was the end of Ian's. I had one more here, and that was just my favorite line in the whole episode. Sometimes upholding the law is messy, but you get mad when it is time. Yeah, and then last thing here, which I'll put is because we mentioned a couple of things. You put I knew it was you all along, Richard Nixon.
He sounds so authoritative and sure when he says that. I knew it was you all along, Richard Nixon.
I knew it was you all along, Richard Nixon.
Maybe Barbrady was really scorned in his previous life, or his family was, by Richard Nixon or something. I don't know.
His wife was the secretary during Watergate, or no, it would have had to have been his mom, I guess.
Right, his mom or grandmother or something was the secretary to Richard Nixon in Watergate, because he
erased the 18 minutes.
We should definitely dive deep into that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's as we conclude this episode of Suck My Balls number 18. Ian, does this make Scoops top 20?
It sure does. It's number 5.
Number 5.
This is number 5.
That's a declaration in the sand.
Stamping it. All
right. Well, I would say Chicken Lover makes my top 50. Top 50. Still doesn't make my top 20. I've got a couple other ones. Like as we get later, like for me, I think season 4 and season 5 are going to have a lot of my tops. You're going to hear that when we get to that, because like there's just a lot of good ones in those seasons. As far as an overall ranking for you, this is obviously one of your favorites, right, Greg?
Yeah, I would have to make this number 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I love this episode. I mean, a lot of it's probably nostalgia because it's the first one I really saw from beginning to end outside of Anal Probe, but I don't know. It's great. The whole thing is just great South Park.
Yeah, as we were talking about this episode before we went on the air, we mentioned, me and you messaged back and forth, and you were like, I really don't have any moments in this episode I disliked. And there really isn't a lot to complain about in this episode. So overall, guys, great episode. We had a fun time reviewing. We had a fun time having Greg here. Greg, go ahead and put yourself over. Let all these people who listen to Suck My Balls, where they can suck yours.
Yes, you can come suck my balls. They're all nice and vinegary for you, by the way, since it is Easter. At ratsaladreview.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Podbean, Twitter, and I know there's some other stuff too, but I'm kind of technologically ignorant, so I don't remember all the names. But rock and metal reviews, we do album versus albums. Suck My Balls is featured on there, as well as Infinite Fringe and some other things.
Ian, where can the people talk to you and, maybe put yourself over if you have anything to put over?
Right now, my personal Twitter is shut down for the time being.
You did shut it down. Okay.
Yeah. You can just find us at the Suck My Balls Pod Twitter. Being controversial as always on there. So, want to argue? Go ahead. Let's go.
Well, of course, my name is Matthew Schaffer. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. As Scoop mentioned, Suck My Balls Pod. We're also available on Instagram at that same URL. You can also find us on Facebook at South Park Pod. Interestingly enough, we got that one. I'm pretty proud of that one. And you can, of course, email us at suckmyballspod@gmail.com. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's only fitting that in this time of stress and dismay on Easter Sunday, for us all to just stop asking questions and paint the fucking eggs. Ladies and gentlemen, check my bad.
Shit, man.